This is a pollock. You've probably eaten it, even if you didn't know it. It's the fish in Filet-O-Fish. It's in fish sticks. And it's the crab in your crab stick sushi. Around 3 million tons of pollock are fished every year. That makes it the most fished fish in the world, and a window into global supply chains. It might have travelled around the world by the time it reaches your mouth. Most of the pollock you eat starts here, in the Bering Sea and Pacific Ocean. It's fished by the US or Russia. Most of it is shipped to one of dozens of countries for processing. But, and here's where it gets complicated, it doesn't necessarily stay in that country. Take China, for example. According to a report by the United States Department of Agriculture, 90% of all fish exported from the US to China, not just pollock, ends up getting re-exported. It goes to Europe, Japan, Brazil, and some of it ends up back in the US.
Around 90% of the seafood Americans eat is imported, but buried within that statistic is possibly 30%, 40% of that fish may actually have originally been American fish.
Why does it move around so much? Cheap labor and even cheaper shipping.
Fish can move around the world quite easily. Once it's frozen, it is really, really cheap to ship. Because container shipping is really, really cheap. You know, if you want to ship a container from Asia to the US, it'll cost you less than $1,500. And you can get it lower than that if you're Costco. And when you think that into a container, you can load several tons of fish. Labor cost in China doesn't have to be that much cheaper.
Pollock's supply chain is complicated as hell. And while it makes financial sense to ship fish this way, Greenberg says the more complicated the chain gets, the less we end up knowing about what we eat.
You start to lose track of the kinds of natural environments that are required to have clean, good, safe, sustainable seafood. You know, it's not a disaster to have to import seafood from other countries, but if we do so at the ignorance and degradation of our own seafood supplies, then I think that's a mistake.
Fisheries economist Chris Anderson says people don't really seem to care as long as they get the fish they like.
If I look around, I don't see consumers having that level of sophistication with any other food product, other than some really niche markets where they're advertising the specific heritage breed of hog from which the pork chops were cut. You just don't see it. So it's not a huge problem.